I just got to the theater. I rushed here. I had to move a client and whatnot to get here to do this, but man, am I excited. I have seen every Saw movie. Freaking first showing of the day, midnight releases back when we used to have them. And I just wanted to show you my excitement for this fucking movie. So in case it sucks and I'm all bummed out during during the next part of this, you can see that I was excited. And there wasn't any taint on this series. I adore this series. They've yet to make a terrible one or even a bad one. So let's hope that they can keep this series untainted. Let's see.
Why? No, I'm just kidding. I really enjoyed the movie. I had a long drive home to think about this, and the longer I thought about it, the more I enjoyed this movie. Now, I will say this, just so people are aware. For one, I am an enormous Saw fan. The franchise as a whole. I fully enjoyed all 7 previous installments. If you didn't like Saw 4 through 7, which a lot of people don't, I don't think that this is going to be the one that brings you back to the original trilogy, and definitely not bringing you back to the original. This is very much a continuation. It feels like the same quality as one of the later entries, which isn't a bad thing for me, but I know that there is a lot of people who didn't like this franchise's later installments. And, that's okay. But I'm not sure what the expectation is from people. So I think that fans of this series as a whole will enjoy this. People who didn't like later installments, or especially people who didn't like any of them. I can't even imagine what the fuck you're doing watching this movie if you didn't like any of the other 7, but you never know. People are weird. Or if you've never seen this, that's another thing. Like, you haven't seen any of the other ones, you'd be pretty lost. I mean, there's definitely, you'll figure it out, but I would not recommend that at all. Now, getting into the movie, this is going to be spoiler free, but I am going to do a spoiler review here that I will post in right after. I'm going to record it here in a minute. But for right now, I'm going to keep this spoiler free. One of my big worries going into this movie was I was really nervous about the continuity and the storyline that the previous 7 installments had set up. I'm a pretty big stickler when it comes to continuity. As much as I enjoy the Halloween series or, other series like that, Nightmare on Elm Street and whatnot, they just ignore things set up in previous films. And while I'll still enjoy the movies, that bugs the shit out of me no matter what. And with the Saw franchise, not only did I really enjoy the movies, but they truly paid attention to continuity within the Saw series. Like them or not, I don't think that is something that's debatable. There is such attention to detail in the Saw franchise. People will call it convoluted, though, this and that. I'm not talking to people who didn't like the franchise. You can bitch all about them all you want. I'm talking to people who did, who are like me. They kept the same crew. And it's such an amazing feat what they were able to pull off, in my opinion. The first Saw was supposed to be one single film. And it had a really good closeout and a great, a really good twist, and it was really well received. And it was expected that a sequel was going to come with the success, but they didn't write it with anything else in mind. And the way that they were able to make a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7 in succession, one year after the other, and for the storyline to actually work, you can call it convoluted, and it is. It's complex as fuck, and is, for some people is pretty hard to understand. I've seen every one of them many times, and they fit pretty damn well. I mean, they really play well off of each other, and if you watch them back to back to back, it's really hard to find a lot of errors in that storyline. I mean, is it fantastical? What are the odds against this and that? That's silly. Is it possible? Yes. Is it a 1 in a trillion? Yes, but that's still possible. And that doesn't even matter if it's possible or not. I'm just saying that for the story itself, it works. And the fact that, James Wan and Leigh Whannell were able to make that original trilogy, and then Marcus Dunson and Patrick Melton came in, and they were able to continue that story. I'm not going to get into spoilers about those either, just in case you haven't seen some of those and you want to check them out. But the way that they were able to, like the reveal of 4, at first I was like, huh? Like, I did not get it. I was just like, oh. But like, as it kind of grew on me, I was like, whoa, that was a really cool way to do that. 5's reveal was a little lackluster for me, and that's probably my least favorite of the series. But I still like it because I feel like 4, 5, and 6 is like one movie. It's like a trilogy. And then 7 is kind of like that end cap to it, which I guess would make it a quadrilogy. But I don't know. That's a very contained story to me. And part 5 really feels like a middle of a movie. So anyway, so as the 7th chapter closed out, I was happy. Like, I sat down after I'd watched them a couple times in succession. I was like, this is a really well-rounded series. Definitely the best, from a storytelling perspective, 10 times over the best horror series that I've ever seen. I mean, horror is not known for its writing. And Saw actually has pretty damn good writing and some really cool twists. So yeah, just from a completely storytelling perspective, I fucking love all 7 together as like one giant arc. And when they announced that they were doing this, when it was called Saw Legacy, and I was excited, of course. I mean, it's a franchise that I adore. But I was also nervous. Like, are these guys going to fuck things up? Are they going to come in and try to change things from the other movies? Are they going to ignore, rules set up in the originals, like, ignoring the fact that this person went, or this person, or this happened, or that. And they didn't. I think they paid really good respect to the original films while creating something new. And I don't think that this film will get the credit it deserves for, the intricacies within the plot. As I was driving home, as I said, I was mulling it over, and I was like, yeah, and they did that because of this, and this was because of that, and they had to do this for this. And I was like, this is cool, man. These people didn't just like get a 8th film in the Saw franchise and they were like, oh, well, whatever. We can just, fucking, who cares? I'm not even going to pay attention to the other films, which I've seen plenty of times in other franchises where somebody else, does it, even the same director sometimes. And you're just like, but wait, you can't do that. We already established that this has happened. Like, don't fuck that up. Like, don't tarnish this storyline. It's good how it is. If you're going to do this, please pay, have respect. And I think that they did. And I think that it works. I accept it. Because that's one of those things where I went in and I was like, okay, if this is shit, or if this is completely ignores events from the previous films and just totally throws shit out the window, I will fucking ignore it as part of this series. I will refuse it. But when I walked out, I was like, I totally accept this as part of the Saw franchise. Like, I will now definitely put that in to the other 7 and take little pieces and put them, where they belong within the story in my mind, because I like to play all the events. Because if you watch like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all those, like, obviously there's like scenes that happen before 1 and after 3 and this and that, and they interconnect in all these different ways. And I like in my head to have like this perfect timeline of events. And there are things that happen in this movie that take place within certain events. And it's like, oh, cool, I get to put that here now. And I get to add this little piece. But it's not so much that it seems shoehorned, but it's enough that I feel satisfied that it has a connection to this franchise. It has connective tissue to the originals from 7 years ago. So I'm happy. I am. I definitely think this will be hated. The Saw franchise is hated by fucking everybody. Like, there's some fans of it that I know, and I respect them for enjoying them, because I'm like, yes, finally a Saw fan. It's almost like you're in a room and you're like looking for your kind. You're like, is there any Saw fans here? Like, even in a group of horror fans, it's mostly like, ugh, fucking Saw. Bleh. So it's going to get shit on a ton. I am prepared for that, but I don't give a fuck about any of that. The only thing I cared about was how I received it and how hopefully other fans of the entire franchise will. And I hope they feel the same way as me. I hope they will come out and say, well, yeah, that was pretty cool, you know? And I'm very curious on what everyone thinks, for sure. So definitely let me know. I'm going to do my spoiler review now, not in this video, but I'm going to go do another one. This is the first time I've ever done a spoiler-free and a spoiler review, but I think it's necessary for this, because I don't want anyone to have anything ruined and like go to the kitchen to go get something and then not hear me say spoilers, spoilers, because that actually happened recently. And I was like, oh shit, I guess I have to do separate videos. So anyway, guys, please let me know what you thought of the movie. I'm happy. I'm happy.